What's going on, everybody? It's Rod with Pow Group. Welcome back on The Pursuit of Wealth, your home for MJ Stocks, crypto assets, news, and interviews. Today is Tuesday, January 30th. Hope you're doing well. And in this video, we're going to do another update video on Trulieve. We'll take a look at the chart and price action, what to expect in the days, weeks, months ahead. It's been a while since we did an update and getting a lot of requests from the community about this one as well. But spoiler alert, they did confirm a monthly uptrend, the first time in company history. And we're going to take a look at some of their peers as well. They did join the likes of Trulieve, AYR, and Green Thumb, now all in monthly uptrends. So it's great to see Trulieve catching up in a big way. But before we get to it, make sure to smash the like. It helps support me in the channel. It doesn't cost you anything. If you're new, you can subscribe, all that good stuff, and you'll be notified on any future videos or when I go live. Also, you can give us a follow over on X, formerly Twitter. I'm going to be using that as my platform of choice going forward, and it's the best way for me to get real-time updates out to the community. So you can follow us at Group Pow is the handle for that one. So bringing up the chart here, TCNNF, monthly uptrend confirmed the first time in company history. You can see we have our low, high of the bounce, higher low, and then higher high this month. And we're actually gearing up for a monthly EMA 12 and 26 bull cross, which will be the first time in company history. Almost set monthly record volume this month as well. Only 21 hours left though, so I don't think it's going to do it. The record monthly volume is sitting at 11.529 million, and right now we're at 11.154. So I can't see it happening. Maybe, potentially, you never know. Depending on what happens tomorrow, the last day of the month, it's possible. We could potentially set an all-time high record volume. And if we take a look, yeah, this was 11.594. Actually, we had a couple of red candles there. 13.42 and 13.874. So yeah, I don't think we're going to set all-time high record monthly volume this month, but it's entirely possible that we see increasing bull volume over the next few months with major catalysts looming with regards to rescheduling. There's talks about even descheduling it now altogether. A lot of there's lawmakers trying to encourage the DEA to do it as well, but I can't see that happening, to be honest. I think that's ultimately where we're going, but I think the most likely scenario is rescheduling. I think they'll reschedule it to Schedule 3, crawl, walk, run approach, where, you know, they don't unleash all of the shackles, they just do 50% of them, right? And it's just a way for them to continue to manipulate the market and create these highs and lows, and for institutions and Wall Street banks to be able to sell the rips and buy the dips, right? And then usually it's the opposite for retail. Usually retailer FOMOing in, and then they get capitulated and sell the bottom, right? Because they're panic selling. But I want to just exercise caution right now on TCNNF and Trulieve, because we have no daily support all the way down to 615, so $6.15 on the OTC. So that means if you entered now, we have no support down from current levels till about 36%, right? So you could easily pull back 10-15% from here, and in fact I would be surprised if it didn't. And we're very overbought here on the daily RSI as well. We're pushing 84, so we're 83.73. Anything 70 and above is considered overbought, so definitely want to be cautious with entries here. But again, never financial advice. I'll never tell you to buy, sell, or hold. This is for entertainment purposes only. But if we take a look, like I said, at the monthly time frame, this is great to see. We have our low, high, higher low, and higher high. So joining the likes of Trulieve was one of the first to do it. If we bring up CURLF, we have our low, high, higher low, and higher high. And then we zoom out and we switch over to AYR. Low, high, higher low, and higher high, higher low, and higher high. So very strong support there on AYR, another big beneficiary of the Florida market, right? And we know it could be on the ballot for 2024 and more than likely enacted into law in 2025, I think is the most likely scenario. And then Green Thumb was the next one to do it, where we had our low, high, higher low, and higher high. All done on this month though, where GTII also confirmed it. Trulieve confirmed it this month, but again, first time in monthly in history that we confirmed a monthly uptrend. MSOS very close to confirming a monthly uptrend. It's all about 988. The high now is 969. And if we break 988, then MSOS ETF in a monthly uptrend, and first time in history as well. And again, the more names that confirm monthly uptrends, the better, right? Even if you're holding majority Canadian MJ, or high tide like a retailer instead of producers, or I don't know, maybe you have Intercure or some other international company and you don't have any exposure to US MJ. And a lot of people can't buy US MJ, right? I know people in Europe that can't buy anything unless it's on the NASDAQ. So they're only limited to, your Canopies, your Tilrays, your SNDLs, and your high tides of the world. They can't even buy into MSOS ETF, for example, right? So until we have that broad exposure and access to capital markets, we're going to continue to see, opportunities everywhere, but we're going to continue to see, the LPs be bought up a lot on any kind of headline, right? If we get a DEA headline or something like that, then obviously that's going to be huge for, your Canadian names, right? Your producers. But this is why, it's good to be diversified as well. But MSOS, obviously, confirming a monthly uptrend would be huge. Would be, an understatement. But again, it's not really the fact that, we want one particular company to do good. We want one particular sector, right? We want the whole sector to do well. We don't just want Canadian MJ, or we don't just want US MJ. When US MJ starts to confirm monthly uptrends and then MSOS ETF eventually, that likely means that HMMJ, the Canadian ETF, is going to confirm one as well, right? Does it absolutely have to happen? No, but the probability I would put in the 80 plus percentile, right? And then the more producers in Canada, the more retailers in Canada, the more ETFs in Canada, the more confident we are in a multi-year bear market being over and starting a multi-year bull market. And I think it's a great sign that the USMJ names are confirming monthly uptrends, because they stand to benefit the most, right? Rescheduling, safer banking, uplisting to the NYSE and the NASDAQ. This is all going to apply to the US companies, right? And yeah, I think Trulieve is going to be a big beneficiary of Florida, right? We know they have a huge monopoly on the Florida market, and if this gets enacted into law in 2025, which I think is very probable, I think it's going to end up on the ballot for 2024 for sure. And then whether or not it gets passed, I don't know. I think it's around 70% chance that it gets passed, maybe 80%. I think it's pretty high though. And Florida's going to be the biggest market, in my opinion, in like hands down in the U.S. A lot of people I get pushback on that. People are saying it's going to be Texas. Well, it's not just about population, right? You can't just look at the population of Texas and then the population of Florida, because you got to look at tourism. You got to look at what the lifestyle is like in Florida versus Texas. And I would say that, hands down, it's going to be Florida. Maybe New York, but honestly, I think Florida is going to put every other market in the U.S. to shame, and it could be the biggest MJ market in the world. So yeah, I think Trulieve is going to be a great beneficiary of that. But full disclosure, I don't own any direct Trulieve stock. I don't own any TCNNF or Trulieve company. I just own it through MSOS ETF, so I have indirect exposure that way, and I'm pretty comfortable with that level of exposure. There's been a lot of, I've said multiple times, I don't need to keep sounding like a broker record at this point, but I don't really have a great feeling about the company because of the fact that, they had that worker that passed away on the job, and then the parents were suing for wrongful cause of death, and there was a bunch of, ties to the mob and RICO case that was on the husband of Kim Rivers, and what else? The CFO at one point wrongly expensed like almost $500,000. When I see all of that, I just can't. I'm sorry. Like I know that there's tons of people out there that love the company, but I just can't bring myself, when there's this many, MJ companies to pick from. I can't marry one that has all that. Imagine being in an abusive relationship and you're seeing all these red flags and you're ignoring all these red flags. Well, and then if your argument is, well, I want to have exposure to Florida. Well, there's other companies that have exposure to Florida as well, right? Like I mentioned AYR, and there's more. So I don't think that the only play is Trulieve. And like I said, I just kudos to everybody else. Power to you. I don't care if you invest in them. It doesn't matter to me, but I wish you all the best, and hopefully nothing happens and you make tons of money. But personally, when it comes to my investment dollars, when I see all those red flags, it's just a no-go for me. But I'm comfortable with the amount of exposure that I have through MSOS ETF. But this is great to see. First time in company history confirming a monthly uptrend, shaping up for a monthly EMA 12 and 26 bull cross for first time in history as well. And then we could see record volume over the next few months. It's definitely not going to happen this month, but it should happen, in my opinion, and we want to go to TCNNF as well. But it should happen over the next few months as well, in my opinion, leading into some of the biggest catalysts of our lifetime, which could be rescheduling to Schedule 3. And then if we just take a look at the daily time frame, right? I just wanted to highlight this before we end it here, that we're likely due for a pretty big pullback on the daily time frame because we have no support down to 615, as I mentioned. But we want to just take a look at the volume for today, right? The volume was 787,000, so we'll just say 787,000, and we'll just use the high of the day. Obviously, not all of the shares were trading at that price, but we'll just do that just for example's sake, and that's even higher than what it actually would be because we're using the high of the day. So we'll times that by 989. So that's $7.7 million traded in the day today. So that's not a lot of volume, right? If for comparison's sake, Tilray one day, just in March of 2023, it traded $2.1 billion, or a little bit over that, I believe. So $2.1 billion traded in just one day, just on the NASDAQ, not even factoring in all the other exchanges. The amount of volume was $2.1 billion with a B. And right now, Trulieve is only trading at 7.7 million, right? So once we have uplisting to the NYSE and the NASDAQ as well, it's going to be massive, right? That's going to be floodgates just pouring open for these MSOs. So there's lots to look forward to, but just be careful on entries here. Like I said, support there at 615, and we're heavily overbought at sitting at 83.73 on the RSI. Anything over 70 is considered overbought. So be very, very cautious on this one. And once we lose the low of the previous daily candle, we're probably going to pull back at least 10 to 15%, I would say. So at the moment, very, very strong. We're in a weekly uptrend. We're in a monthly uptrend now and a daily uptrend. This is what you want to see. Uptrends on all time frames, and specifically the monthly time frame. And we're absolutely blasting off here on the weekly time frame, well above the 10-week moving average, going parabolic. The stochastic and the MACD also blasting off. On the weekly time frame, we did get over the 100 weekly there at 891. We'll want to see a candle close over that to remain bullish, but we do have a lack of runway until the 200 weekly there at 1844, and a lot of names are starting to go there, right? Take a look at GTII, Green Thumb. It got very close to its 200 weekly. So just for comparison's sake, if TRL were to do that, it would get to 2367 Canadian, and for TCNNF, we would be looking at 1844 on the Canadian name. And then in the daily time frame, we had a golden cross as well. So this is all what we wanted to see, right? I've been saying on the channel, we wanted to see monthly uptrends, we want to see golden crosses, weekly EMA 12 and 26 bull crosses, and that's exactly what happened. And it's hard to find a more bullish chart at the moment. This is just absolute monster of a move, and just a powerhouse at the moment. There's no end in sight, and this is the time where things can get overheated as well. So you'd want to be very cautious on FOMOing in, because these are the times where we could easily pull back 20-30% and still be in daily uptrends, right? We could still pull back from here 36% and still be in a daily uptrend. So, and that's not even talking about the weekly uptrend and the monthly uptrend. So like I said, just be very, very cautious at these levels. And if you're looking for an entry, maybe you want to wait for daily oversold, might be a decent area to target, and that would probably bring us down to around the $7 to $6 area. And I know it sounds crazy. It's like, what? We're almost at $10. You think we're going to go down to $6 over the next week or so? It's like, that'll never happen. And it always seems that way. But guess what? This is probably what people were saying down at $4. We're never going to $10 over the next couple of weeks and few weeks, right? Get out of here. We're at $4. No way we're going to $10 over the next 10 weeks. And then sure enough, in 39 days, we pull it off, right? So it always seems impossible until it happens, and then once momentum starts to go the other way, starts to shift to the bullish momentum, people get FOMO, and they think it's never going to stop, and it's never going to pull back that much, and then same thing on the way down. They never think it's going to break out that much that quickly. So just let that be a lesson. And the great thing about this all is that we're seeing tons of names in the US confirm monthly uptrends, and rightly so, and what we would expect, right? The US names are going to benefit the most, so we would expect them to confirm monthly uptrends and be stronger, technically speaking. And then we should see money, and once the actual DEA headlines and stuff like that come out, what I think could even happen is we see profit taking in the US names, and then all of the big capital, right? The institutional money, the retail money, will enter into the big names like your Tilrays, your CGCs, and those will probably just skyrocket like 50 to 100% in a matter of days, right? And play catch up. So just look out for that. But like I said, it's going to be great if all boats rise together. A rising tide lifts all boats. And if we get monthly uptrends on the Canadian names, retailers, ETFs, all over the place, both Canadian and US, that is what we want to see, right? We want to encourage that, because that's likely going to mean that all of MJ is going to do very, very well over the next couple of years as we enter a new multi-year bull market, potentially with some of the greatest upside that we've seen with some of the biggest catalysts of our lifetime, right? Rescheduling, and then eventually full-blown legalization in the US and around the world, right? This is only going to ever happen once. So I'm here for it. All right, going to end it there. It's Rod with Power Group. Thanks again for joining us in the pursuit of wealth. If you found this video helpful, I would appreciate it if you could leave a like, share the video, and subscribe. You'll be notified on the next one. All right, have a great night, and we'll see you on the next video.